Most people have gambled at least once in their life, but for Jimmy the Gambler Gambino, betting was his life and death. The son of a bookie, Jimmy spent his childhood days at the track instead of at school and his nights in the gambling dens of seedy bars. Eventually, Jimmy opened a booking business of his own. Unable to turn down a bet, he barely covered his payoffs. Jimmy's reputation caught the attention of made man Larry the Finger Vitello. Larry approached Jimmy to place a large bet on the long shot in a heavyweight fight. Jimmy knew the risk, but needed to uphold his reputation, so he shook hands with Larry and sealed his fate. As his fighter took a deciding blow, Jimmy fainted to the floor. When Jimmy came to, Larry had arrived to collect his winnings, but Jimmy was cleaned out, so Larry made an example out of him. Actually, several small examples. He chopped him into little pieces, wrapping them in cellophane and dumping them into the ocean. Together they formed the pieces which completed my search for the torso.
Happy Halloween! Or, well, October, but same thing basically on my channel. This one is about the torso, and let me tell you, it's a kicker. Get it? Because the torso doesn't have feet. Anyways, although you definitely don't need a head for this one, because it's called, well, the torso, and torsos generally don't really have heads, I wanted to add my own little spin on it. So I'm starting off with covering a mannequin head with a couple layers of glue, otherwise the styrofoam will just absorb most of the paint that is about to be put on it, so there's really no point in putting it on unless you put this to start. Consider it a primer. This is just going to be regular old school glue. And once all those layers are fully dried, I'm coming in with many different alcohol activated paints. Some light blue tones, some purple, some pinks, white, gray, basically just a bunch of death-like tones. I'm splotching these on with a spraying motion using just your basic run-of-the-mill paintbrushes, that's what they're called, which have thicker bristles so they're a little bit more dense. And I'm just going in, again, splotching these on with a spraying motion to make it more dispersed. I go back and forth between this portion and adding features to the face to make it look more like an actual human and less like a mannequin head. Just more of a person, right? We gotta add some personality to this bitch. Adding features such as lips in by using a fine paintbrush with some pink and salmon tones on it, dotting on the colors and blending it out a little with my fingers. Adding brown and purple tones to the nose to give the appearance of nostrils because this bitch has got to breathe somehow. Obviously, her mouth is not opening. She doesn't technically have to breathe because, like, she's dead, but we gonna give her some breath. And a shadow effect also to the eye area. Basically anywhere where you'd see a shadow, so even below the lips in that little like ring that everybody has around their chin, in the nose area, the eye area, around the nose. Pink and red tones towards the bottom to act as a wounded area with blood. I added eyebrows with a mix of brown and black. And to add even more life to her, which is ironic, it's just going to be ironic this entire video, I'm going to be using some crappy false lashes I bought from a dollar store, attached with some super glue. Now let's cut her up. It's always Halloween that I say things I never really thought I would ever say out loud, which is really honestly creepy. Out of context, please never use this out of context. Continuing on with red and pink tones to the now ripped up portions after we just cut them up with scissors. Then adding purple to make the wounds look even deeper, because the darker the color, the deeper it's going to look. As for the actual makeup, I'm drawing out where my head's going to be cut off with eyeliner that's easy to rub off in case, well, I make a mistake, which I did. The basis of this is to create an oval from one side of the neck to the other, and then two smaller in between each size of the oval. Dead set in the middle. Dead set. I didn't even think about that. Taking a skin-safe adhesive and dotting it along the bottom line with a disposable sponge. Make sure it's disposable. I say this in every video I use liquid latex in. And dotting it along the bottom line of the oval, adding some rolled out cotton that's been rolled back up from a cotton swab into the area I put liquid latex in, and then adding more to keep it into place. And continuing that until you've got almost like half a moat around. Adding the same kind of idea to the middle, but instead of a cotton swab, I'm using a cotton square cut in half and then folded in even more of a half, hot dog style, as it's going to make for almost the perfect throat bone shape. No idea what the actual technical term for that bone is, but we're going with it at this point. Same with all my videos. And I'm doing this twice for two of the bones. Adding a bunch of liquid latex around the area so I can add some texture in there with some more cotton. Then once everything is dry, I'm pulling the cotton away from my neck at the bottom. I'm using scissors for this, which I highly do not recommend at all. But I was basically just too impatient to actually peel it off safely. So do as I say, not as I do. Then I'm going to be using some white, gray, and blue water activated paints, diluting them a crap ton, and then using them on a blending sponge to make my body look washed up. Drowned bodies do not stay beautiful forever, guys. Well, regular bodies don't stay beautiful forever, so drowned bodies really don't. Around the wound area, I'm going to be using a purple cream paint to give it some bruisey tones. And then a dark red to start the internal process. Literally the internal process. I'm just full of puns today, guys. Continued with a bright red to act as the base for the bloodiness. And a black to black out the entire upper half of my neck. The rest will be blacked out later with a toque, a black toque, obviously. And to add more depth into the neck wound, I'm adding black and blending it out, and then blood. Lots and lots of blood. Scab blood, runny blood, all the blood. Here's that toque and the saran wrap. Even more blood over top of the saran wrap. And we're done. This was one of the longest tutorials I've ever made.